Hi, Lorna, how are you?
Hi, Krista. I'm great. Good to see you again.
You as well. I'm so excited to see what you came up with today. I came up with I think it's a pretty fun idea from the Stampin' Up Celebration, Sale-A-Bration catalog. So I'm kind of excited to show you, but why don't you, I'm going to put it on Spotlight and let you introduce us. One second here. There we go.
So hello, everyone. My name is Lorna Petzel, and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Saskatchewan, Canada. Try and say that fast. And I am here today with my border buddy, Krista Wilson. And Krista comes to us from Reno, Nevada. So if you're looking to shop with someone in Canada, feel free to contact me. If you are looking to shop with someone in the United States, Krista's your girl. So you're having a good day today, Krista?
I'm going to spotlight what I'm doing now. Thank you for the introduction. So here is I think it's just a super cute little card that I made with the Sale-A-Bration set. The paper is from, it is free with a $50 order, and it is called Simply Marbleous. I love the title. The colors, it's 48 6x6 sheets, and it comes in all of these fabulous colors. Today I'm going to be using the purple, and on the front has a swirly pattern, and the back, I don't know, what would you call this? More of a
marble.
Marble. Ha! Duh.
Marble.
That was funny. A marble pattern. So anyway, without further ado, I will get started. I have already, just to prepare, I already stamped the card. I stamped it in the basic gray color. There we are. The basic gray color. When I'm coloring, I personally, this is my go-to color. I find that black is a little bit too shocking and a little bit too much. It probably depends what you're working on, but generally I tend to go with a basic gray color. So I'm going to show you how to stamp, or how I color rather, with our alcohol-based markers. These are called Stampin' Blends, and there are two come in a pack. One dark and one lighter. I always start with the lighter, and just speak up, Lorna, if you do things differently or if you have further tips. But I always start with the lighter, and so here I've just colored it in, not even that neatly. When I am coloring and shading, I'm always kind of thinking about the sun. Here, let me grab another piece of paper here. And I'm thinking, okay, if the sun is coming from here, I'll make a sun.
Nice drawing.
Yeah, there's a reason why I stamp and I don't draw. I think you might have just found it.
I'm with you there.
So I think of where the sun is shining and then where the shadows would be. So I'm taking what do you call this side of the marker, Lorna? The other side with the brush stroke.
The bullet.
The bullet.
I call it the bullet end.
The bullet end. Go ahead.
Versus the plume end. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to color the bumpers here. And then I'm going to lightly color like where I think the shadow would be away from the sun. And so I'm going to kind of follow this line here. And I know this looks absolutely terrible. It won't in a minute when you see the magic happen.
It's always fun to do this because it looks so horrible, and then all of a sudden it starts to look great when you start the blending.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree. All right, so I'm going to take the plume end, as Lorna calls it, and you can see that when I do, the colors just kind of blend, I guess, and mix, and it just looks a whole lot better and a lot more, I don't know, kind of dimensional, I guess. Is that a good word?
Yeah, I
It
like how
stands
you're
out
doing
more.
the shading. It gives it a nice dimension.
Yeah. So I absolutely love these markers. I love how vivid they are. I feel like I know I don't use them enough, but boy, do I love them. Whenever I use them, I'm like, why don't I use these a lot more?
Since they came out with the blends, I find I'm doing a lot more shading.
Oh,
Before, it always was harder somehow for me to do using like a blender pen and the ink or watercolor pencils are always easy, but they aren't quite as vivid if you're looking for a vivid color. So the blends make me feel like a real artist when really all I can do is a stick man.
yeah. Well, you can see from my son that that's probably about my level as well. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use my bullet point, and I'll just do the presents on the top. I'm blending these less, but I still like to use these markers just for the vividness of them. So I'll just color these little thingies in.
I
And
find using the blends, your shading goes very quickly compared to other things. You know, you're not constantly dipping into the ink or, you know, stop using 2 steps to do it. So
hey,
it's very easy to do. Although there are occasions when I prefer to use the blender pen and inks or the watercolor pencils, but I find if I'm looking for a quick way to color, this is my go-to.
yeah, well, and I just the vividness, I just, you know, I just love it at the end. This color here is a smoky slate. So there's a light smoky slate and a dark smoky slate. So I am going to use the outside of my wheels with the light. And then I just love too how like I love how you can use the light and the dark and they coordinate and it just looks very finished to me. Another thing I'm going to use the smoky slate for is the window. Just try and do it lightly. And then I'll grab my dark smoky slate. There we are. It dried out a little bit. I must need to get a new one. One thing about these markers is you need to make sure that you put the caps on very tightly or they can dry out. So that would be it's just something to keep in mind about them. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm using my dark pool party and I just kind of want a tiny little bit of pop to just to change up my color sequence a little bit. There we go. So there is my color. Isn't that cute?
That is awesome.
And then
very cute.
And then because it's me, everything needs bling. So I am going to use my Wink of Stella, which I use pretty much every project I work on, almost. I just liked a little bit more. It's such a very light little sparkle. There we are. Yeah, I'll just bring it up to close. Whoops. Oh my goodness. There, isn't that cute?
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cute.
I love it. I love it. Now, you know what? I had somewhere in a oh, here we are. It was like somewhere in a very safe place, I cut the back for this. So I am just going to assemble. My glue of choice tends to be glue dots. And do you do this too, Lorna? I just started doing this where I tie a little ribbon around it and then just pull it through. Otherwise, it tends to, you kind of hold the end and it just flips and it goes all over the place.
Yeah, it's all tangled up. Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
do that. I buy rolls of stamps from the post office and I do it with those too.
Oh, that's actually, I don't do that. That is like, see, you're brilliant.
Otherwise, I have glue dots and stamps unrolled everywhere.
This is the take your pick tool, and I like the little spatula end. I see people using the pick end a little bit more, but you know, actually I kind of goofed here, but no big deal. I'm just gonna take that off. You usually put glue on the smaller piece rather than the larger piece when you're matting. So that is this side. And we are very fortunate here with our Stampin' Up products because our paper has two sides. So I kind of goofed this side up a little bit, but I can just turn it over. There we are. And one more. There. So see, turn it over. It looks perfect. And then, of course, after I get this lined up, and I kind of am an eyeballer, I love to use dimensionals. Now, Stampin' Up has two sizes of dimensionals. These ones are larger, and these ones are tiny. And actually, I'm going to use both of these in this project. You'll see where. But I like to put, I think, 5 on here. I like to put quite a few on just to make sure that it sticks well. So
yeah, I've noticed sometimes if you don't put one in the center, you'll get a little, it'll sink a bit.
that's true. That is a good,
So
yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So it's good to put enough on.
Now here's the base of my card. So I've got the base. I'm kind of going a little bit backwards, but I've got the base, which is 4 1/4 by 11, scored in half. I'll have these measurements below. I have my Simply Marbleous Paper, and it is, now I have to think about it, 4 by 5 1/4. And I've already used I can't think of the name, Lorna, sticky strip? No, tear tape. Tear tape.
Yes.
So the way this works is, I love it. You just kind of do this and it tears. You don't even need scissors. And I've just put that on. So I'm just going to take the paper off here. And if it goes off the end, you can kind of flip it back there. And then I will just eyeball and put this on. Whoops. It's very hard to line things up when people are watching. There we are. There, does that look about right, Lorna?
Looks good.
Awesome.
Hard to center it when you're on the, trying to keep your head out of the camera view, isn't it?
It sure is. And then I'm going to center this up here. And then have you used this sparkly paper yet, Lorna? It's in the new catalog.
I haven't. It's sitting on my desk and I haven't even used it yet, Krista.
I
That's
love it.
like a real shame, isn't it?
It kind of is because it's so pretty. Look at these little flowers. They're all sparkly.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They look so
I always
pretty.
love all their sparkly glimmer paper. It all looks so pretty.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm going to take, I like many adhesives. I don't have a favorite and I tend to use many on every project. You really could use the multi-mono, but I really love the simplicity of the glue dots. And so I am just going to run these down here. I had already pre-cut these. Here we are.
It's a nice punch for the daisies, isn't it? It punches easily and there's so many uses for the daisies. I love that punch.
Yeah, I do too. It's one of my favorite, and it just, to me, the daisies and the Simply Marbleous Paper and the car, they just kind of all seem to kind of all go together with that groovy kind of thing. There we are. And then I'm going to use these, I'm going to raise, and so that is where I'm going to use the smaller, can you see that, Lorna? The
I
smaller,
sure can.
oh good, the smaller dimensionals. So we'll get those up. And then here we are. Now, I don't know if it works this way for you, Lorna, but for me, every card looks a little bit different. And quite frankly, the main reason it looks a little bit different is because I mess up somewhere along the way. You can see in this card, when I was doing it, I kind of got a wrinkle right here in the corner. And so I had to put a heart on there to cover it up. But now I kind of like the heart.
Cute.
And this card I like, and it looks different than this one. In this one, I used a ribbon. And in this one, I quite frankly completely forgot to. But I still think it looks cute. But if you were going to put the ribbon on, you would put it on the back of the Simply Marbleous paper.
Right.
And, here are the jewels from our current mini catalog from in here. And so I'm just going to scoop those up and put them on. I kind of think I like the bigger ones a little better. Oh, get on here. I hate it when they don't listen to me. These jewels are self-adhesive, so you don't even have to glue them, which is pretty great.
They're really handy and fast to use when they have the adhesive on the back, aren't they?
They really are. So there you go.
Oh,
and
cute.
Thank you. Thank you. And I actually made, now here, I'm going to show you another way that I messed up. In here, I have this in the middle. It says driving by just to say hi. And I used a scrap of the Simply Marbleous paper on the inside. In here, I made another inside, but I got a funny mark there, so I had to use some of the daisies, the daisy punch to cover them up. So that makes every card very special because they're all different.
Handmade.
And handmade, that is right.
I know when you're making them by hand, it's no two are alike because there's always some little thing that's different. Oh, those are very cute.
Aren't they fun?
I love
that set. This is actually, I first saw this driving by set and I'm like, yeah, whatever. It has just become one of my favorites. It is just so darn cute.
It is. I didn't even get that one yet, but I might have to do that because I'll be ordering this week. I always have a hard time deciding which celebration things to get because there's so much to choose from.
Yeah. So, well, do you have anything to show us, Lorna?
Well, I do. And obviously we didn't talk first because when you look at mine, you're going to see that I also was drawn to the Grape Heather Marbleous designer paper.
Oh, how fun.
And instead of the cars, I took a shine to the catching butterflies with the little girl and the butterfly net.
Oh, she's so cute.
So isn't she sweet? So I'll just show you a few things about how to make this card. So I have some pieces cut out with the grape and some with the blushing bride here so that you can sort of see the difference in the color. And I totally forgot to cut the base. So that pretend this is blushing bride base, although white would be okay.
Yeah,
and of course, yeah, it does. And with this one, it's the heather. So I've got bits and pieces here cut out. So there's a couple of techniques I just want to show you. One is for the dress. It's called paper piercing. So what you do is you stamp your image onto the cardstock, onto the white, and then with the bit that was left from cutting this background piece out using the color and contour dies. Can you see those, Krista?
I can,
There's
yeah.
all different sizes of scalloped edges. And for this one, it's the largest one. So you cut that out, and then you have a strip of cards of design paper left. So you ink up just the part of the dress and the arms, and then stamp it, and then you cut that out with your paper snips. Now you can see here, I started doing it in the grape, and I just wanted to show you that yes, you do have to cut off her hands and her legs. It sort of feels weird doing that when you're cutting it out, but you do have to dismember her. So it's sort of as like, oh, when I did this out of the class, they're like, you mean we have to cut off her legs? And it's like, yes, you have to cut off her legs. And everybody was a little appalled, but anyway, on this card, I'm going to use a blend and a Stampin' Right marker. So the Stampin' Right marker I'm going to use for her hair. Okay, so Stampin' Right markers are sometimes hard to shade with because every time you go over it, it gets darker. Okay, but that's actually going to work in our favor with this card because we're just going to color it solid one color. And then we're going to go over it again a second time on just some of the strands. And that will make her hair look two-toned. I'm going to lift this up so you can see that it does look two-toned.
Oh,
can
yeah,
you see that,
I
Krista?
totally see that. Yeah. Yeah, it looks
So,
great.
yeah, so you just use the plume end first off and color the whole thing. I'm trying to miss her ear here. I don't want to color her ear. Okay, so we've got this all shaded in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the small nib end, and this end is smaller than the blend end. Okay, the bullet end on the blend. Can you see the difference there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
it's much smaller.
So for this hair, you kind of want something that's a little smaller because we're just going to color in some of these individual strands and make them darker. And that's going to give that two-tone look to the hair. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing? I'm not doing every single strand of hair. I'm only doing some of them here and there. And that's going to make the hair look like it's got two tones in it.
Cute.
So once you're finished that, and that didn't take long because you color it all solid right off. Now we're also going to do a little shading and raise part of the butterfly net because that's going to make it look 3D. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the bullet end and do a little bit of shading with, this is again smoky slate. We're using the same colors today, Krista.
Isn't
all in
that
all,
funny?
That is funny. And I'm not doing a lot of shading here. It's just to highlight some of this here. Okay, and I'm going to do inside the net a little bit too. Okay, and around this edge. Okay, and so I also want to do the inside of this. Oh, you know what? I have to cut that off. I forgot. I shaded the wrong inside of the net. So I'm shading the inside of this net.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get my paper snips, crash, and I'm going to cut out the inside of this net, just like so. Lots of surgery going on with this card.
There is a lot of surgery. You know, you maybe should have been a surgeon, Lorna.
Well, yeah, instead of a nurse, right? I'm close, but no cigar. My paycheck reflects that. So I'm adding a dimensional here to this.
I love that because it's, you know, just by shading the bottom, the back, it.
Oh, I gotta have a massive glue glob coming out. Oh, I don't like it when that happens.
Yeah.
I had this sitting up upside down for a while. That's probably why. I'm adding a little bit of monomalty to the tip of this net. Can you see that there?
I can. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to place that here. And then I'm just going to press down. And you see how that raises the net and looks like it's open here?
I love it. That is so cute. Can you bring it
So-
up a little bit? I think, I mean, I can see, I get it, but I think I'd like to see it. Wow, that looks so cool. Yeah.
So it looks like the net is open and she's actually after the butterflies, right?
I love
So now
that.
we just have to glue this in place because I have it all cut out. So it gives her a dress, and it's just cut out from a piece of this that was left down the side. So hopefully I don't have a volcano of glue coming out here right now. Okay, this is gonna, oh, I do.
Oh, you did.
Thankfully I had a piece of scrap paper here.
That's a good thing to have with that mono multi. I love that glue, but a little sure goes a long ways.
Yeah, if you put too much on, it ends up squishing out everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a little off her arm here because I'm all full of glue now.
Oh,
Okay,
I love
so
that.
now-
So I like her dress looks totally shaded, but it's not. It's just
It's,
the paper.
yeah, it's simple, right?
Yeah,
It's
very
simple.
cute.
Okay, so that's done. So now I've got my Blushing Bride marker, and I'm just going to color in the bits of the butterflies here
Uh-huh.
to make them match the rest of my card. So typically you don't use this kind of a marker on, you have to be careful with the Memento, right? Because it's a water-based ink and so are the markers. So if you do too much of it, you could end up with the Memento ink bleeding or running a little bit. And so I'm just if you saw that, I touched quickly with the marker. Now here's the sort of the dilemma of the face, right? How are we going to color her face? So we either leave it white,
Mm-hmm.
or Stampin' Up has the ivory and bronze skin tones. So you
Uh-huh.
can use that.
Okay.
Or say you don't have these, then actually your mother cut this out, believe it or not. Like, she has the patience of Job, right?
She
And
does.
so she made this mask to use for this card. And
Oh,
she
wow.
even made 2 little dots for the eyes so we don't end up with red eye.
Oh,
Look at
that's
this.
awesome.
Like, she's like the most, so how did she do these? Was these little dots are punched out with an 1/8 of an inch hole punch
Oh my.
out of painter's tape.
Wow.
That's why they're green. She's not green with envy. She's green with painter's tape. And I'm just trying to get this other one on my take your pick pointy tool here so I can get it on her other eye. And the reason you have to mask it is so that you're not getting ink on them, right?
Right.
So we want to cover up all the places that we don't want ink. And we don't want pink eyes, and we don't want the pink in all these other places. So we just lay this on so you can see where we're going to let her ears show. There's her face. Okay, so get that all lined up.
I cannot
And
believe my mom cut out the ears. That's
I know,
something.
she's just like amazing for details, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, we need a piece of scrap paper and we need a blending brush.
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
What
so-
a great technique.
So what you do is practice on your scrap paper first and just see how dark it's going to be, right? So always go on there first. And now we're just going to hold this down. Make sure her little ears are showing, and we're going to add color to her face. Okay, I don't know if I have enough yet, so I'm going to peek. She's looking pretty good. What do you think? You probably can't see that well
Oh,
from
I
where
can.
you're
I
sitting.
can totally tell because you've got the white behind. So yeah.
Now, does that look enough? Maybe a little more.
I think so.
So this is a way that you can color her face if you don't have all the fancy tools. You can still do some shading. See that?
Oh, I love
She
it.
She looks a little bit goofy with her green eyes going there. I'm going to get my take your pick tool and take them off, and I have to put them back into the case because Rita will want to make more cards, no doubt, and want her eyes back. So anyway, yeah, she did this just for today's video, right? And then
Oh, wow.
she started making cards herself out of this, and I'll have to show you one of the things she made later. So now we still have her hands and her legs. So we can either take the Petal Pink blend, the Petal Pink marker, or we can use this ivory marker because it's like the skin tone, right?
Okay.
Or where's my Petal Pink? So we could use any of these to do. I'm not going to use the Petal Pink because if you look at the Petal Pink on the butterflies, it looks a little different from her face. So I'm just going to use the ivory skin tones. Now you can actually get more neutral colors now. At one time we could only get these two, and they're on the page with the cardstock if you ever want to find these. And I guess I better do her neck as well. She's looking a bit white in here. There we go. So these come in a pair, the ivory and the bronze. So if you're looking for skin tones, I would suggest those, or you can get the whole set of neutrals and you'll get lots and lots of colors that you can use. So we've got all of that done. So now it's basically assembling this like so. So we're going to just glue this all together and pretend that we have a blushing bride background. But I don't even mind this. Now this white piece, by the way, was cut out with the rectangle stitched framelits. And I'm going to show you those because I think that they're so useful. Like we use them a lot. They come in all different sizes and different shapes of rectangles. So they're really great for doing a layering piece like this because you can choose any size that you want. Mm-hmm. And another little trick that some people will do, I'm not going to cut it right now because that would just be boring, is you find a framelit that fits inside of here and you use it and you're going to cut it out of here. You get it perfectly centered and you're going to cut it out, and then you have this piece to use for another project because when you layer this on, it totally covers that up.
Oh.
Okay. So that's kind of a little tip if you're, thinking, oh, I have to cover up all of that beautiful, beautiful designer paper. There is a way to salvage some of it to use later. Now, the last little touch for this card would be to use the brushed brass butterflies, which I managed to say without stuttering. And, and so we're going to put one in the net and then one just outside the net, if you can see that. Okay. Now, I'm quite impressed with these. When I first looked at them in the catalog, I thought, oh yes, one more thing to add thickness to my card. But really and truly, they don't. They are very thin. They should actually call them brushed brass thin butterflies because they are like it. I'm going to lift one up so you can see it. And they come with a backing on the back. And so look, they're just so thin. Can you see that, Krista?
I do see that, yeah, yeah.
So they're not going to add any thickness to your card when you go to mail it. So I'm really impressed with that because that's always a concern because you can go from paying, you know, we pay like $1 or something for a stamp here, and it can quickly go up to like $1.75 or $2.50 very quickly.
Right.
So I just added 2 of those on there to make it just a little bit of bling and make it interesting. And then let me show you the inside. So look at that. I love the saying, collecting sweet thoughts of
I
you.
like that. That's
And
really
then there's
special.
just this one little butterfly stamp that you can use to stamp individual butterflies in there.
Cute.
So it's very, very quick and easy to do the inside. The outside has some little fussy parts of it, like doing the paper piercing and stamping this and cutting it out, because you have to stamp this bit twice and you have to stamp her dress twice. But really and truly, it didn't take long at all. So I think it's a great card. And if you have little girls, it's a perfect stamp set. And I'm just going to show you the card that your mom made. I think she's hot off the press today. I went over and glued hearts on it. And so some of this is old stuff, right? And some of it is new. So it's the best of both worlds. And I don't mind showing you this because everybody has some things that are new from the catalog. But if you look in your stash, you're going to find all sorts of neat designer paper that you want to use, right? So this designer paper is older. I forget what year it was out, but it's so cute with the little hearts, and it's a perfect Valentine card for a little girl, right? So the only thing that is not complete yet is her dress, and haven't decided whether to paper pierce it or color it in with the real red blends. So I haven't figured that out yet. What do you think, Krista?
I don't know. I mean, actually, they both sound good. I like your. You know what? I think I would color it. I think I would color it. The only reason why is because that we don't have a red in the Simply Marvelous paper. So you can't do the dress the same way.
And I don't think it would be too bright because we've got some pretty vivid real red hearts there. And you'll notice the diorama die. It gives a frame for her.
Way to use that. I love it.
And then here's the red. So this is one of your niece's Valentine card for 2023.
Oh, yay. I wonder which.
Trust Rita to be like a whole year ahead of time, right? She's always so prepared. So yeah, so isn't that cute?
That is darling. That is
so I
darling.
think I have the real red blends here. I didn't bring them out. I should have, and then I could have showed you how to color the dress. Do you want me to run and get them quick?
Sure.
Okay, you can just chat everybody up for a second.
Okay, I'll spotlight myself for a quick minute here. Here we go. So when I was going to say this when we were finished, but all of the measurements for all of our projects today and the materials will be down below in the description. As well, down below there will be how to contact us, and please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or if you'd like a catalog or if there's anything we can do to help you on your stamping journey. Lorna, are you ready so we can see how to color that dress?
I am. Now, the one thing that I will point out is that we're going to have to put something on the inside of this, possibly another heart over here, because when you color with the blends, it does seep through to the other side, right?
Right.
So that's why I'm going to open it up so I don't ruin this part.
Right.
Okay. So you just have to remember to do that. So I'm starting with the light because, well, maybe I'm going to start with the dark. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Some of these lines with the dark. And then I'm going to blend them in with the light. So this is dark real red.
I love that color. That looks so pretty and bright and yeah, so vivid.
I think it'll be okay because the hearts are pretty bright.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get, did you hear that? You couldn't hear a snap on that lid. So we know that I didn't get it on correctly, and I'm going to have to go back and put that lid on. But I'll
Yeah.
probably use it again before I'm finished because I see that there isn't much contrast here. So it's very easy coloring with these. And I just have to stop talking. I can't obviously talk and color at the same time.
It is hard to talk and color at the same time. Kind of like walk and chew gum, or is that the expression?
Yeah, it's all these little areas here. Like she's so fine boned, unlike myself. Okay, we're almost finished. And then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to have a look at her. And
You know, I can see the shading though. I can see how the dress
can you see
is.
it?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm going to add I want a little bit more contrast there. So I'm just going to add some more. So you can always go back and blend it in. When it's wet, it sort of runs. And so it's very easy to use. And sometimes one thing that I do is use the nib end and I'll go in circles.
Okay.
And that kind of blends it in a little bit better too. Can you still see the blending?
I can. Yeah, it looks really good.
So there we go. I think I'm finished with that dress.
I love it.
So look at the other side and you'll see what I'm talking about, how it bleeds through. But that's not a problem because we'll just put some more hearts on this side, or we can just put in a piece of designer paper or another piece of white with a little Valentine saying about Saint Valentine or some, you come up with something to cover all this kind of a thing on. If I knew that I was going to do that, I would probably have use the thick cardstock perhaps, or the watercolor paper or the shimmer paper. Some of those are a little bit thicker, or it doesn't bleed through quite as much, but this is going to be okay. We'll figure something out for the other side.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's that little girl. Both of them are looking great. I'm going to snap my lids on now for my blends, and I think we're good to go with this card. Hey,
all right, sounds good. All right, well, I'm going to, there we are. Now there's all of us. Wave. Caught you off guard. The last thing I wanted to say before we left is right now it is Sale-A-Bration. So the 2 sets that Lorna and I used today are available until February 28th, and that is free with a $50 order. There's a few other sets. Oh, I'm sorry, $50 order in the United States and
$60 in Canada.
$60 in Canada. And then there's some other things as well. I'll quickly go through them. There's an Island Vibes for $50. There's the Daisy paper or daffodil, not daisy, daffodil paper. There's Lorna's cute little set and the cute little set that I used today, all of these. And then there's some rainbow paper and the Simply Marbleous paper that we both used. The Awesome Otter are free with $50 American, $60 Canadian. As well, there are some sets that are available with a $100 order, and that's this set, which is free with the set and the paper for $100 American, 120 Canadian, I would guess. Then this last set, which I actually really like, and it's called Special Moments, and it has several words, and it is also free with a $100 order. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned something. And is there anything that I forgot, Lorna?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I'm pretty excited about these Sale-A-Bration items. I think they're great, and the words. What was the name of that word set again? In the Moment?
I think it is called In the Moment. Let me go turn to it real quick.
I have that.
Special Moments.
Oh, special moments.
Oh,
I've been
good.
using that quite frequently. It's a great set. I'm always looking for words, and that one has not disappointed. It's a great set.
It is a good one for sure. Yeah, I really like that one too. All right. Well, it was so nice to see you, Lorna. Thank you so much for showing me what you've been working on. I
Well,
love
and
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's been good to stamp with you today, Krista, and I look forward to next time.
All right. Awesome. And again, we'll have our dimensions and the materials used in the description below. So check that out. We'll see you soon. Bye now.
Bye.